guys, welcome back, and this is Caroline. It's only a month left till Christmas, and in today's tutorial I'll be sharing with you guys step by step on how to create these gorgeous yet simple Christmas cards so you can send this as a special gift to friends and family. The tutorial will be separated into two parts. For part 1, we will go through the basic steps on how to paint these realistic bubbles. If you'd like to skip this video and dive in straight to paint the Christmas card, the link for part 2 will be up on the top right card here or in the description below. Now let's get started. First off, we will need to understand the placement of highlights and shadows. For the ease of this tutorial, we will just assume that the light will be shining in from only one direction, which is the top left. And so the shadows will land on the bottom right. When painting, we will need to keep this in mind and use this as a guide when we work on increasing darker shades in the different areas later. For our first bubbles, let's go for a gold. As they always say, old is always gold. The interesting thing about painting gold in watercolor is that it is actually achieved without the use of any gold paints. Instead, I have selected 3 colors that we will be using. The first color is cadmium yellow orange, which will be used as a highlight, followed by burnt sienna acting as a middle tone, and for the last color, sepia will be used for filling in the shadows. Keep in mind that this area here will be our lightest highlight. With a wet brush, I start off by pre-wetting the entire circle with a thin layer of water. And then taking cadmium yellow orange, mix in some water to the mixture to create this very light wash, and then paint over the whole circle. Top up with a little more pigment to get a slightly darker shade. Paint over the outer areas and slowly moving inwards, making sure to leave out the highlighted part. Then I am adding more paints to slowly build up the orange shade around the bottom right where the shadow lies. Okay, let's start working on our mid-tones. Add in a little bit of burnt sienna into the mixture and paint over the shadow areas. As we are doing this, we are introducing more contrast, and the bubbles is slowly forming its round shape. If you find paints slowly flowing into the highlighted area, take a clean dry brush, remove some of the paints by lifting them up like so. And bringing in a little bit of sepia, start painting in the darker shadows. Slowly building in the darker colors will bring more contrast and depth into the bubble, giving it a fuller 3-dimensional look. Here onwards, I continue to build up more layers into the painting, switching between the 3 colors which I mentioned earlier. Adding darker colors in the shadow and lighter colors onto the highlighted areas. When the area is dry, take a very light wash of orange and glaze it over like so, while avoiding the highlighted area. I really like this glazing effect because it gives the bubble a more glowy gold effect. And here I added burnt sienna to darken the shadows a little more. And next, we will be painting a red bubble. For this, we will be using only 2 colors. The first color is Rose D'Or Metallic, or you may use a similar red that you already have. This will act as our base color. And for the second color, I'll be using neutral tint for the shadows. The purple here used as our middle tones, which is achieved by adding only a tiny bit of neutral tint into the red mixture. So similarly, we start off by wetting the area with water and painting in the lighter shade of red, and slowly building up the shadows by adding more red pigment. Once that's done, I start to mix in a tiny bit of neutral tint to the mixture to achieve these purple middle tones, and then slowly adding in more neutral tint to paint in the darker shadow areas. And similar to what we did earlier, glaze over the bubbles with a light wash of orange and watch it transform. Doing so brings in a warm shade, producing a glowy effect on the highlighted areas. For the finishing details, and yes, I did mention no gold paints required, but it doesn't harm to add some in for the extra kick. So I'm painting it over the shadows and highlighted areas to give it a good shine. And this is the end of part 1 for the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do comment below if you find it helpful, or let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you in the part 2 of this tutorial.